Hi, everybody. Guess who's back with another movie review? Spidey Presents. Yes, I'm back. It's been about 2 weeks since the last time I did my movie review. And if you recall, it was Shakes the Clown, which I thought was a pretty darn good movie. Now, we're going to talk about one of my favorite families of all time, movie families of all time. But first, I want to give a big shout out to Janelle, my new press secretary. Thank you, Janelle, for everything you've done. You're the best. Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight, well, about 5 years ago, it's been a long time, folks, since I talked about the Munsters. I know you're going to go, oh, yeah, you're going to talk about the Munsters all the time. Well, this is only my second review. Just give me a break. What I have here is the two-disc set of the Munsters. This is Munster Go Home and Munsters Revenge. Now, I'm trying to get the glare off that goddamn cover, man. Oh, that looks a little better, doesn't it? A little better? I think so. I think that looks a little better. Anyway, I decided to go back to my old suit, and we'll talk about the Munsters in a few minutes. Let's talk about Spidey. I decided to go back to my old suit because I think it's a little prettier looking. Don't you think? A little more vibrant, the reds and the blues, and it matches well with the stuff in the background. You know, the weird stuff with Penny and that kind of stuff. Oh my God, that's weird shit. And I kind of like it. Anyway, let's talk about 5, 6 years ago. I did Munsters Go Home, 1966 follow up to their 2-season TV series. It was actually a pretty good movie, but we won't talk about that right now because we already did a review of that. But we're going to talk about their 1981 comeback movie, Munsters Revenge, which had Fred Gwynne in it, had Yvonne Carlo, Al Lewis, a bunch of newer stars and stuff like that because pretty much Eddie Munster had grown up, so they really couldn't use him. They wanted to kind of portray the family as the same age bracket, even though Fred Gwynne and Yvonne Carlo and Al Lewis are just a little bit older looking, but still, I love them. You gotta love them, right? Don't you love the Munsters? I love the Munsters, man. It's a funny flick. It's actually 1981. God, I wish they would have made more movies between 66 and 81, or even after 81. Because pretty much they're all gone now. Al Lewis has passed away, Fred Gwynne's passed away, Yvonne Carlo has passed away. A couple of the other characters who were in some of their movies have passed away. It's a great. Anyway, let's talk about this movie. Forget about my babbling. I'm just babbling here. Anyway, they do look a little bit older, and it's basically set in California, of course. The Munsters, 1313 Mockingbird Lane. Yeah, we all remember that, don't we? Yeah. Great. Oh, God, I'd love to live in that house. That house is fantastic, folks. I love it. I think my suit looks pretty good, actually. I get a little fat, but Spidey's a little older, a little fat, but, I get a little bit, I still love doing this shit. Oh, Spidey loves movies. Anyway, it's basically about well, it's got Sid Caesar in it, too. He's really good. He plays this diabolical, like, freako that thinks he's an Egyptian king or something, or he's still alive from 4,000 years ago. He's a nutcase. Anyway, it's got Casey Martell in this movie too. It's got Bob Hastings, Peter Fox. It's got a lot of good, familiar faces in this movie. They all do a pretty good job in this movie. Yeah, the police commissioner and all those people. You get a kick out of this movie. I know a lot of people complain about this movie. It's all washed up. It has been, stuff like that, They don't look very good anymore. Of course, they're older. They're probably 60 years old or 50, 60 years old when they did this movie. Something like that. I don't know, man. I really don't know. You have to do some research on that. But anyway, it takes place in 1981. And basically what they're doing is, it's pretty much about an Egyptian exhibition that's going to be stolen by Sid Caesar and his henchmen. And so what they're doing is they're stealing all kinds of stuff around the city, and they're using these robots in the basement of the wax museum. It's basically set in a wax museum, which is pretty cool. I like wax museums, all the different characters from history and stuff, famous actors and monsters and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. I love wax museums, don't you? I love wax museums. They're fucking cool. Oh, I use some profanity. Oh, Spidey, you shouldn't be doing that. I don't want to end up like Butcher and Penny and all those other weirdos, man. Anyway, let's get back to stop with my humor, and let's get back to the movie, okay? Okay. I try to put a little humor into these reviews because, movies are my thing. Even though I fight crime, I love watching movies. Humphrey Bogart movies from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, stuff like that. I'm not so big on today's movies that much, even though there are some good movies out. But I kind of like the older stuff because I'm old. So it kind of falls right into my category, right into my brain. Yeah, anyway, I'm just being silly. I'm being silly. Anyway, so what's going on? Sid Caesar and his henchmen have created a line of robots that actually are up in the Wax Museum. And some of them are actually computers. They're robots. They move around. They do all kinds of weird shit. They, steal cars and clothing and terrorize people around the city. He's trying to collect all kinds of different stuff so they can make their big heist at this big upcoming Egyptian exhibition at some convention center or something. That's kind of cool looking though. If you like Egyptian music and that thumpy stuff, that's kind of cool. Wait till you get to that part. I thought that was really entertaining. Anyway, so of course, they send out these 3 robots in particular, Grandpa and Herman. Oh, actually 2. I don't know what I'm talking about, folks. I'm drunk or something. So what they're doing is they're stealing stuff around the city at night. Of course, Herman and Grandpa Mustard get arrested because they think that they're the ones that are doing the heist and stuff like that. And it's not, it's the robots, it's not them. Of course, they're in jail and they're trying to clear their name. And you got the Phantom of the Opera in this movie, too. Oh my God, he's hilarious. I don't know who, I think it's a Robert Morse or somebody. I can't remember exactly who it is, man. The guy's hilarious, man. He's always singing in the house, the Munster house, and like opera type stuff and breaking people's glass, their wine glasses and, their watches and stuff like that because his tones are so high, his shrieking is so high. He's hilarious. I can't remember what his name is. He's a good actor, man. He's actually one of my favorite actors in this movie, aside from the Munster family. And the other characters are really good too. They picked out a really good cast in this movie. Everybody plays their part really good. I mean, you got, like you say, you got this guy in the jail cell with Herman and Grandpa, who's actually funny as hell. When Grandpa and Herman are locked up, mistakenly, whatever. you have to watch a movie. Just watch a movie. Anyway, so we got 8 minutes in this movie. We got lots of time to talk, folks. Lots of time. Hey, don't I look good? Not too bad for an old, dried up spider, don't you think? Anyway, so Fred and Grandpa, I should say Herman and Grandpa, are basically, they break out of jail and they're trying to clear their name with the help of the family and the detective that's in love with their daughter. I can't think of her name though. Anyway, you have to look at the credits anyway. It's a new Marilyn, and of course it's a new Eddie Munster. And because I don't understand why they didn't use well, actually they'd be older. They'd be like about 40 or something like that. So maybe it was a better decision to use younger actors. But I don't know. That's just my opinion, I don't care. It works. A lot of people Oh, excuse me. A lot of people don't really like this movie so much, but I think it's actually pretty damn entertaining. Anyway, let's get back to the movie review. Forget about the movie review right now. Let's talk about the movie. Now, I love the Munsters. I always thought as a kid I would love to live in a Munster mansion or house or wherever you want to call it. I would still do that because I just thought that was a great family. They had great values. They were entertaining. They were fun. They were loving. Even though they were monsters, they still had compassion and they were just like normal people, except they looked like monsters. But I love it, man. I would go back and, if I could, I would go back and live with them. Because I just think it was so much fun watching this as a kid growing up, the Munster TV series, and both these movies and stuff like that, But anyway, let's talk a little bit about some of the other movies that have been made since this came out. Now, they've had some good movies. The Munster Scary Little Christmas, I thought was kind of a fun little movie. Even though it was set in summertime, they're trying to, make it out to be winter time with all the decorations and stuff like that. Or maybe it was Halloween. I don't really know. I have that movie on DVD. That's actually a pretty entertaining movie. I haven't seen some of the other Munster stuff like, I can't think of them. You have to go do some research. I'll find out what's going on, and I'll give you some updates on that stuff in the future. Anyway, God, look at this weird shit behind me, man. I feel like I feel like I'm being stared at. I don't care, man. I'm here to entertain you with this. Whoa, let's get it straight. Get it straight. Oh my God. Oh my God. Janelle, I need your help. I need Janelle here to help me get this cover from glaring so much. There we go. Yeah, that ain't too bad right there. Damn lights, man. Anyway, I like the wax museum in this movie. It's kind of really entertaining. I never been to a wax museum. I like to go to a wax museum and take about 100 photos. You know, even famous politicians and actors and villains from way back and even current stuff. That would be actually pretty damn awesome, I think. Unfortunately, I've lived in Palookiville and it sucks. There ain't nothing here except assholes. Penny and Butcher are right about that. It's nothing but assholes. Terrible city. Terrible city. We will not be talking about that anymore tonight. We'll be talking about this. Anyway, so the movie just plods along. There's a lot of hilarious scenes. Peter Fox is a detective who loves Herman's niece and Lily's niece. Excuse me. I think this mask has got some dust in it or something. Anyway, so he's in love with her, and he's helping the family try to clear their name, Herman and Grandpa, of course. And, it's kind of a love story, too. It's kind of a sappy love story, but it's actually really entertaining. There's all kinds of weird characters. There's a pizza shop. There's these two hilarious street cops in their car. There's all kinds of... There's Fred eating acorns up this tree next to their house. That's hilarious, man. You got to see some of the scenes in there. I really love Grandpa and Herman and the rest of the family. The movie actually, Sid Caesar, like I said, I keep getting away from my main point here. Just bear with me. I have a tendency to babble on about all kinds of crap here. But anyway, they eventually do clear their name, of course, and they bust Sid Caesar and the rest of his henchmen, and they end up, beating out the bad guys, the cops, and arresting them. And Herman and Grandpa are cleared of the charges of, terrorizing the city. That's what they're charged with. Terrorizing the city. Yeah. It's great. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things where, a lot of people really wouldn't like this movie, but basically I like the movie. Maybe I'm being a little biased here because I love the Munsters, so I'm giving it a little bit better review than most people might give it, because they might think this is a pretty average movie, but it's more than average to me, just because it's the Munsters, and it's pretty much the original cast, and that's really what's important here, folks. The original cast, except for Eddie and Marilyn, of course, but like I said, the rest of the actors do a great job. Herman, Grandpa, and Lily do a great job. Phantom of the Opera is fantastic in their house. Of course, Spot's there. The Raven's there. The same old stuff. Igor. The same. And yeah, Igor back in Transylvania is pretty hilarious, too. Herman and Fred have to go back to Transylvania and get some kind of a youth potion or something. And Igor's been holding down the fort in Transylvania for Grandpa for, 50 years or whatever. And he's like, a 70-year-old, whatever he is. Anyway, there's a lot of different parts in this movie which are pretty hilarious. I think it paces out really well. I think there's a lot of good elements to this movie. I think it seems to be well produced. And like I said, a lot of people don't like this movie in particular, but I think it's good. I'm going to put it just like this. See, it's like that, right there. Right under my sagging chin. But anyway, 1981 it came out, and I wish they had done more movies between 1966, when the series ended, and they did that first movie, the Munster Go Home, which was a classic, I think, and this one in 81. I don't understand why the people in these movie studios didn't have them do more movies. I don't get that at all. They could have done another movie after 66 and maybe even one or two after 81, the original cast, because they still were alive. They were still living, alive and kicking, I should say. But, you know, they were basically still able to do some movies. And I think most of them kept their acting careers going, so they could have come back and done another movie or two. I wish they had done that. Damn it. That irritates the hell out of me, man. This is a short-lived classic family that should have gone on for more sequels and more TV shows and theatrical movies and stuff like that. Not all the remakes have been done with all the new cast members, you know, but keep the at least until at least for another 5 or 10 years or something like that. Maybe through 1990 or something would have been nice. I don't know. Just venting about that, you know, it doesn't really. I know it's all water under the bridge at this point because they're all gone and we're all getting older and blah blah blah. You know, but it's kind of sad to see a family just kind of like just slowly go away with age and you know and passing away into the great beyond and stuff like that. Just like Spidey will one day too, you know, and I know all of you be crying and tearing up in your chairs when I'm gone. Spidey's getting old, you know, so Spidey ain't got a long time, much longer to really kick around. Spidey is almost 70 years old, getting close to 70 years old. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that because it's true. But enough with me. I don't want to sit there. I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself. Anyway, so we're going to rate this movie, and then we'll talk about it a few more minutes because I don't want to stretch this review out too long. But I'm gonna give this movie at least a good solid 9 spiderwebs, just because I love the family so much, and I love the genre, and I love the music in this movie, and it's entertaining from start to finish. A lot of people might complain about it hasn't got a great script, but I think the script is adequate, if not above that. That's why I'm going to give it a 9. I should give it a 10, but let's do it. Let's do a 9.5. Do a 9.5. Good comeback movie after 1966. Anyway, like I said, 9.5 for The Munsters' Revenge. I know Rob Zombie has got a new Munsters movie coming out really soon, and I'm really kind of like very skeptical about that. I didn't even pronounce that right. I'm not sure about that. I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan, but I'll give the movie a chance. The new Munster movie probably coming out maybe later this year or early next year. I see stills and all kinds of stuff from it, you know, and cast members and stuff like that. I hope he does the new Munster movie. You know, I'm a little worried about that. You don't want to tread on classics here. This cast and these original Munster movies, they're gems. They're gems. And I don't want him to screw it up with his theatrics and his over blah, blah, blah. Well, you all know about Rob Zombie movies. I like some of his movies, but I'm not a huge fan of some of his movies. They're okay. I did not like his 2 Halloween movies at all. I thought they were too violent and too terrible. I think he's a good filmmaker, and I hope he does a new Munsters movie. He gives it all the attention and detail that it deserves. You know, I'm a little worried about that, but I'm going to give it a chance. I know I'm not going to like it nearly as much as the original Munsters, but, you know, that being said, we'll see what happens when it's released at the theaters, maybe this year or next year. I'm not sure what the release date is, so I'm going to get going. Like I said, this is going to be a 9.5 spiderwebs, and I'm not sure what I'm going to review next. Probably Nicolas Cage's Willy's Wonderland, which is a pretty damn good movie. You might want to check that one out too. So until next time, you take care and love those monsters, right? See you later. Bye.